The courtroom wasn't just full. It was brimming with tension, with heat, with the weight of a spectacle disguised as procedure. News anchors whispered into cameras outside. Social feeds were already flooded with clips before the trial even began. Inside, behind the defendant's table, Elon Musk sat, silent. The United States of America v. Elon Musk, a case that had captivated the country. National security violations, alleged rogue AI deployment, whispers of deep tech black ops. The headlines had made up their mind, but Elon hadn't spoken. Not yet. Judge Miriam Caldwell, a 40-year federal veteran with a known disdain for Silicon Valley's arrogance, leaned over her microphone. "Mr. Musk," she said with the curl of a smirk, "this court is not an investor pitch. I suggest you spare us the theatrics." Laughter spread through the room. But Musk didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. "Understood," he said flatly, "but I wasn't planning on talking." The judge raised an eyebrow. "No defense?" "Not from me," he replied, "from the footage." The judge scoffed. "You're bringing video to court as a legal argument?" "Not video," he said, placing a small encrypted drive on the table. "Proof. If you're wasting my time." "I'm not, but if you let me plug this in, I'll show you why someone inside your own government tried to stop me from showing it." The room went still. And just like that, Elon Musk had turned the trial from a defense into a detonation. Judge Caldwell sat back, her arms crossed. The room waited for her decision like it was holding its breath underwater. "I'll allow it," she said finally. "But if this is a stunt—" "It won't be," Musk replied. He nodded to his attorney, who approached the court's evidence screen system with a sterile matte black drive marked "Clearance, Echo Delta 09. A technician slid it into the secured port. For a moment, nothing. Then footage rolled. The room darkened. The courtroom screen displayed a desert facility time-stamped 2:17 a.m. April 3, 2025. Overlay text marked Restricted DoD Site Observation Node 7. What began as grainy drone footage quickly zoomed into detail. A convoy of trucks, unmarked. Movement at a remote facility's perimeter. Cameras panned, following the heat signatures. Then, a flicker. The screen glitched, once, and then a split overlay appeared. On the left, the actual feed. On the right, real-time predictive tracking generated by an off-grid AI system labeled only Neural Thread V92, Owner XAI. Lines formed on the screen. Trajectory, heat deviation. Motion modeling. The AI had identified a breach 7 seconds before the perimeter alert had even triggered. And then a warning. Containment recommended. Collateral 0% if deployed immediately. The room was silent. The AI had seen a breach before the government did, before the guards on site even knew. "This was never filed," Musk said quietly, because it worked too well. The judge leaned forward. "You're telling me this was active, during a federal intelligence test run?" Musk turned to her, calm as gravity. "I'm telling you this prevented an unauthorized weapons theft that no agency saw coming. My tech saw it. Your protocols didn't. So instead of a thank you, I got subpoenaed." Someone in the gallery gasped. The stenographer actually paused her typing. The judge swallowed hard. "And you're saying this footage is real?" Musk looked her in the eye. "I'm saying that's why someone inside your house tried to bury it." Silence gripped the room. Not the respectful kind, but the stunned, frozen kind that only arrives when everyone realizes something irreversible has just occurred. Judge Caldwell's eyes remained locked on the final frame frozen on the courtroom screen. Predictive overlays, red outlined suspects, and a blinking alert labeled Threat Neutralized by Unauthorized System. The prosecution shuffled their papers with sudden intensity. Assistant U.S. Attorney Olivia Redd stood, voice tight. "Your Honor, we object to this footage being entered into the record. It hasn't gone through the chain of evidence protocols." Elon spoke before the judge could reply. "Actually, it has. You received a suppressed FOIA request notification 2 weeks ago. The same file. You rejected it." Olivia paled. "That's not procedurally accurate. It's logged," Musk interrupted. "In your own system. Under AI anomaly batch redacted, EO security clause pending. You know what that means." The courtroom was locked in collective stillness. "It means someone in your office flagged the footage as dangerous to institutional trust. Not because it wasn't real, because it was." Judge Caldwell raised her hand. "Enough, Miss Redd. Did your office see this footage?" Redd hesitated, then looked down. "We received an incomplete version." "Wrong," Musk said sharply. You received the full version, but your team pulled the metadata tags. I brought them. His attorney handed the court a sealed manila folder. Inside, authentication keys, a DoD decryption log, and a delivery receipt signed by a federal evidence technician. Judge Caldwell leaned back, stunned. Your Honor, Musk said, voice low, I wasn't hiding anything. They were. Outside the courthouse, word was already spreading. Musk footage, they buried it, predictive AI. On live feeds, analysts scrambled. One anchor whispered, if this is real, it's not just an acquittal, it's an exposure. Judge Caldwell looked around the room, then directly at Musk. Continue, she said. I want to see everything. The lights dimmed again. Everyone leaned forward, breathless. The screen flickered once more, and a new file queued up. This one wasn't thermal drone footage. It was clean, too clean. A pristine conference room, a Pentagon seal etched into the wall behind a long black table. 5 officials seated, no names visible, just titles. A watermark in the corner. Intel Archive. Level 4 clearance only. The audio was grainy at first. Then, what about the Musk protocol? A male voice responded, it's operational, and outperforming our Tier 1 predictive systems by a margin we didn't anticipate. Then why are we prosecuting him? A pause. Because if we don't, we lose control of the narrative. The moment the public learns a private citizen averted an international incident before we did, our legitimacy evaporates. Gasps. The judge gripped her gavel but didn't bang it. So you're saying the trial was the cover story? Someone muttered from the gallery. Musk didn't smile. He just sat there, still, focused, waiting. On screen, the conversation continued. We can't let AI governance drift into corporate hands. He's too unpredictable, too direct. If we let this slide, next time he won't ask for clearance, he'll just act. He already did. Footage cut. Dead silence. Judge Caldwell looked stunned. Then she asked the one question that shifted the courtroom's entire weight onto the prosecution. Ms. Redd, did your office know about this meeting? Olivia Redd hesitated. Too long. We weren't briefed. Elon looked directly at her. You were briefed. You were just told to deny it when it surfaced. A low murmur swept through the room. Even members of the press were frozen, unsure whether to start typing or simply listen. The judge removed her glasses, placed them on the bench and said, Mr. Musk, do you have more? He nodded once. That was just the context. For a long moment, the courtroom was quiet. Not from order, but disbelief. Judge Caldwell leaned forward, elbows on the bench. Mr. Musk, you have the floor. Elon nodded toward his attorney, who queued up the final file on the drive. This one, Elon said, was never supposed to be recorded, let alone decrypted. But someone inside didn't just send it to me. They asked me to show it. Today. The screen lit up again, but this time it wasn't surveillance or internal briefings. It was presentation footage. A classified briefing titled Operation Sable Prism, AI Predictive Redirection Initiative. A sleek government template flashed across the screen. Date January 14th, 2025. Location Langley, Virginia. A presenter, voice disguised, stood before a small room of high-ranking officials. Sable Prism proposes coordinated rerouting of AI traffic across suburban networks to monitor, anticipate, and redirect public behavior, primarily political dissent and narrative instability. The courtroom tensed. Charts appeared showing US cities, heat maps of trending topics, cross-referenced metadata tracking emotional sentiment from user platforms. The system's name, Echo Thread, derived from modified Tesla framework. Judge Caldwell blinked hard. Is that your AI? Musk nodded once. They took it without my permission, modified it, used it on civilian networks, then came after me for using it in a crisis. The next slide confirmed it. Origin code branch neural net 7, 8 TXTSLA core. The camera panned to an official in the room. He said, if Musk finds out we repurposed his model, he'll burn the house down. Another answered, that's why we need to discredit him first. The footage ended, and the room exploded. Someone in the back yelled, that's unconstitutional. Reporters scrambled to call editors. Courtroom staff stood frozen. The prosecution's team looked like a row of statues. Judge Caldwell rose slowly. Her gavel hovered. Then, this court will recess for 30 minutes and reconvene for a new ruling. She walked off the bench, not because she wanted to, but because she had to. Musk remained seated, calm, unmoving. Let them think I was reckless, he muttered. It was the only way to show them the truth. 30 minutes never moved so fast. Outside the courthouse, thousands had gathered. Protesters, supporters, journalists scrambling to verify what they'd just seen. The footage from Operation Sable Prism had gone viral within 11 minutes of hitting the live stream. It was on TikTok. It was on X. It was in the inboxes of senators. Inside, the courtroom doors were sealed, but the shockwaves were undeniable. In the hallway, Attorney General staffers were on calls, red-faced, whispering words like emergency protocol, containment messaging, and media diversion. Inside the judge's chamber, Miriam Caldwell stood alone. No robe, no theatrics, just a federal judge staring at her own reflection. They used his technology. They used it on us. A knock. Her clerk. "Ma'am, we have word that 3 members of Congress are demanding a full investigative hearing. They're watching the footage on the House floor." Caldwell took a long breath. Back in the courtroom, Elon still hadn't left his chair. His team sat quietly. No celebration, no outbursts, just eyes locked on the bench. Across from them, the prosecution was in ruins. Olivia Red had her head in her hands. One of her aides had already left the building mid-recess. In the press box, someone muttered, "This isn't a case anymore. It's a confession." Then the doors opened. Judge Caldwell walked back in. Everyone stood. The hush that followed was heavier than any gavel. She sat, adjusted her mic, and looked at Musk. "Mr. Musk, this court is not prepared to proceed with standard deliberations. What you've presented is not merely a defense. It is an indictment of multiple federal agencies, protocols, and ethical boundaries." She turned to the prosecution. "Do you have anything left to say?" Olivia Red slowly rose, voice shaky. "No, Your Honor. We request withdrawal of all charges pending internal federal review." Gasps, audible, national. The judge turned back to Elon. "You were right," she said. "This courtroom scoffed before it listened. That won't happen again." The double doors opened to a storm of flashing cameras and a wall of reporters, already shouting questions before Elon Musk had taken 2 steps onto the courthouse steps. But he didn't flinch. No entourage, no podium, just Elon, walking down the steps like a man who had carried a secret long enough. Aides offered him microphones. He waved them off. He stood at the top of the stairs, in front of a sea of lenses, and raised his hand. The crowd silenced instantly. "I'm not here to gloat. I'm here to say I shouldn't have had to show you what I showed in there. I shouldn't have needed declassified footage. I shouldn't have needed leaks. The government that accused me was using my work behind closed doors, not for defense, but for control." Murmurs. Hands flew to keyboards. Phones shook as live streams lit up. You watched it. You heard the words. The plan was never to convict me. The plan was to silence me before the truth became inconvenient. "That plan failed," a reporter shouted. "Will you sue?" "What's the point of suing shadows?" he replied. "I'm not after money. I'm after exposure." Another yelled, "Is there more we don't know?" Elon paused, then said something that would be etched into headlines worldwide. "You haven't seen half of it." Then he turned and walked away. No security detail, no PR flurry, just a man who had dropped a truth so heavy even Washington couldn't spin it fast enough. By the end of the day, 3 senators demanded a formal inquiry into Sable Prism. The Department of Justice issued a statement saying they were reviewing the integrity of the initial complaint. The president called for a public-private task force to restore transparency. And trending above all, Elon was riot trial of the century, show us the rest. It was 2:37 a.m. Just hours after Elon's courthouse bombshell, an anonymous file hit the inboxes of 3 investigative journalists, 2 senators, and, curiously, one of Elon Musk's engineers. The sender, a secured Proton Mail account, prismcollapse@protonmail.com. The subject line, "You saw the footage, now read the plan." Attached, a 74-page internal document titled Sable Prism, Psychological Narrative Engineering for Civil Stability. No redactions, no watermarks. Inside, detailed operational blueprints. Screenshots of dashboards monitoring social sentiment in real time. Target keywords. Emotion clusters. Scripts for influence adjusters tasked with subtly redirecting public discourse on topics like energy independence, dissent, and digital free speech. The AI responsible? Threadline, a renamed and government-modified fork of Musk's original neural engine. The plan wasn't to ban ideas. It was to shape them, invisibly. The public must always believe they arrived at their conclusions independently. By morning, the leak had gone viral. Every major outlet scrambled. Former intelligence officers appeared on morning shows. Some denied its credibility, others called it the modern Pentagon Papers. But what made it undeniable? A short audio file attached at the end of the PDF, a single voice. This isn't about national security. This is about national psychology. Musk warned them. They didn't listen. So now, we all need to. It was confirmed within hours. The voice belonged to a former DARPA AI lead. He was the architect of Threadline. He'd fled the country days before the trial. Elon didn't comment, but his team did post 3 words to X. He wasn't alone. Now the public didn't just want justice. They wanted answers. The Capitol Rotunda buzzed like never before. Every major network went live. C-SPAN had more viewers than the Super Bowl. Headlines crawled across screens in real time. Elon Musk testifies, Sable Prism hearing begins. Inside, the hearing chamber was standing room only. 3 Senate subcommittees had converged. Intelligence, technology, homeland security. The last time these chairs were this full was after 9/11. Elon Musk entered without notes, no lawyer beside him, just a printed copy of the Sable Prism document and a drive labelled Threadline Origin. The chairwoman, Senator Clarissa Rains, known for tearing apart CEOs on national TV, wasted no time. Mr. Musk, you sit before us accused and vindicated in the same breath. Why did you not bring this evidence forward earlier? Musk replied, because I didn't know which of you helped bury it. Gasps rippled. Some senators looked away. You trusted federal protocol more than a proven system. You criminalized a safety patch because it came from the wrong source. I didn't create Sable Prism. You let it happen. Senator Rains blinked. That's a bold accusation. I don't accuse, I show. He inserted the drive. The screen lit up with metadata, commit logs, user IDs, Pentagon IPs, the exact moments when his private code was duplicated, modified, and pushed live under a gov address. Then a second screen popped up. A camera feed. A senator, seated in the room now, was visible in a prior briefing. Timestamp 8 weeks before the trial. On video, he said, we need to control the fire. Musk, he is the fire. Musk turned calmly. Care to explain that, Senator? The room went silent. Chairwoman Rains leaned into her mic. We are entering recess to confirm the authenticity of these files. Musk stood. Don't bother. The internet already has them. The hearing never resumed. By the time the committee reconvened, the footage Elon Musk had shown was already downloaded, duplicated and dissected by millions. The leaked files, the metadata, the senator's confession, it was all public. Memes were made. Threads were pulled. And America, for the first time in decades, looked at the line between freedom and influence and saw how thin it really was. The DOJ launched an official inquiry into Sable Prism. 3 intelligence officials resigned in 72 hours. Senator Philip Brandt, the man caught in the footage, went dark, refusing press, skipping meetings. The president made a surprise address calling for restoration of public trust in digital ethics. And Elon, he was already gone. No press conference, no victory parade, just a single X post, a photo of the courtroom hallway, captioned with 5 simple words, you won't silence truth twice. It exploded. Have truth twice trended for 4 straight days. Protesters printed it on banners, tech leaders quoted it in conferences, even late-night comedians stopped joking. Because it wasn't just about Elon anymore, it was about every voice that had been labelled dangerous, deranged, or misinformed. Not because it was wrong, but because it was inconvenient. In classrooms, debate halls and living rooms, people began asking, what else have we been told to laugh off? And in the ruins of Sable Prism a movement began, not to replace government, but to demand it finally serve the governed. And that line, you won't silence truth twice. It didn't just become a meme, it became a mission.